Firstly, a few remarks from my perspective as the current chair of YIS. And I think it's worth summarising this last 2019-20 year as successful but unprecedented for the very obvious reasons. Hugely proud of Gareth and the team, including those new people that have joined us throughout the last year. All our volunteers, for example, our counsellors who've shown real flexibility in ensuring our response to COVID was swift, but also safe. I mean, it's a huge testament to everybody that our service did not stop. That's absolutely fantastic. Also, wanted to say a deep sense of gratitude to all those that have supported YIS throughout the last year. There are those that have supported YIS financially, and absolutely, not least, Milton Keynes Community Foundation and Milton Keynes Council, hugely grateful for their financial support. But equally, those that have supported us as part of the wider community, the wider voluntary community here in Ymca. That's all really important to us too. And I think that's really enabled YIS to reinforce our foundations, if you like, and extend our support to young people. So when COVID hit and came out of nowhere, we were absolutely resilient. We built up that resilience, and we were really therefore able to take on those challenges that the pandemic has presented and really ensure that young people were supported from day one. So just a few sort of opening remarks from me. And now I'll hand over to Gareth, who's going to give more detail about this last year, and also Tony, who's going to talk about our training and education work.
I'm going to be talking about the counselling service to begin with, and then we'll be moving on to Tony to talk about our new education and training offer. And then I will come back and talk a little bit about our volunteers and some of the business development work that we've been up to. So this is our full annual review. I'll make sure this is sent out to everybody who's attended today. It's already available on our agm.mkyis.org.uk website, and we'll be sending out to our mailing list as well. So this is our stats for, it's so strange, it's so strange to be talking about April 2019 to March 2020, because that seems a whole different world ago. So bear with me. So we did really well last year. We increased the number of locations that we were providing counselling in by 5. That included some GP surgeries and some parish councils, which was really great. We were able to take on 6 more counsellors than we were the year before, thanks to funding and some efficiencies and just the kind of general amazingness of our volunteers. We had 347 young people referred to the service, which was 44% more than the year before. I suspect this year it's going to be even higher. This summer we've seen double the amount of referrals than we had during this period that I'm talking about, which is going to make a very interesting AGM for next year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see 97 young people, which is when we've had to close the waiting list. Closing the waiting list is kind of our last option. But if it means that people are going to be stuck on that waiting list for too long, we don't think it's fair to them. So we will close our waiting list if people are going to be waiting more than 3 or 4 months. But they also get priority access when we reopen the waiting list. So we give them some other support that's available locally and nationally to make sure that they are able to access support, including people that they can talk to straight away. Until they are able to come into the counselling service and we're able to reopen it. We held 250 face-to-face intake meetings, which is where we talk to the young person about what they're coming to counselling for, answer any questions that they may have, or to find out if counselling is right for them as well. So in a majority of cases, young people will go through the intake meeting and will then go into the counselling service. There may be points where sometimes the intake meeting is enough. I think sometimes a lot of young people that come to us find that just talking about it all in one session can be quite helpful, which is amazing. But there are also cases where we don't feel that we're able to provide the best support to that young person, and that in that case we would refer them on to a specialist service. And sometimes young people come to the intake meeting and think that they're not ready for counselling yet, so that's fine as well. We were able to offer 207 young people an average of 6 sessions, which is 23% more than the year before. I think I've confused myself with statistics, but I'm going to carry on. We were able to offer 53 sessions a week, which was fantastic. That was 40% more than the year before. What wasn't great news was the amount of DNAs. So a DNA is what we call a did not attend. And that's when a young person doesn't arrive to the session and they haven't told us about it. So if they cancel, that's fine. But the DNAs meant that 20% of our sessions went unused, which is really, it's a shame, because those 20% of slots could have been used by people that needed them. We're doing a lot of work on attendance to sessions. Honestly, at this point in the year, I can't say it's particularly got any better. We thought maybe going online would be, that we'd get them where they were, but no, we're still getting quite a few of our sessions unused. So we're doing a big piece of work to look at why that is and what we can do to make sure that we're using the best of our volunteers' time, that we've got, you know why we want to fill those sessions. The great statistic was 100% of people who filled in our evaluation form felt that we helped them, which is amazing. So we helped them in some way. 96% of people felt able to move completely on. 89% reported improved performance at school, and 99% would recommend us to a friend, which is great. I won't go over all of the demographics and things, but I will point out a few of the highlights. What we can see here is that the average core score, now a core score is a score that's given when we ask the young person 10 questions and then they get a score out of that, and it's a way to kind of just set a measurement for well-being. They come to us in their first session, the average score is 22, and the average score in their last session is 11, which is great. Still room to improve, and but we're really pleased that 30% of our clients show clinical change. Clinical change is sort of a provable difference in that client's well-being. And then we've got 67% of clients showing improvement, which is where they have improved. They are better than when they came into the service, but realistically, those problems haven't completely gone away, but they may come back into the service when they're ready. People don't need the service unless they're ready to kind of leave. And some people are happy with that type of improvement. Clinical change is very difficult to do in a 6-session model, and the fact that we have 30% of our clients showing that, I think, is fantastic. The work our counsellors do is incredible. I'm just going to take a drink for one moment. Also worth pointing out is the issues that young people are coming to us with. You can see we've started to do year-on-year comparisons. Obviously, we're seeing more young people, so we would expect those blue columns to be higher anyway. But I think you can see that some of them are growing higher than others. Self-esteem, for example, has doubled as an issue that people are coming to us with. I think we've all heard about the impact of social media, the amount of messaging and marketing that young people are going through, and there's lots around self-image in that. What's wonderful, though, is the young people are teaching us about some amazing self-esteem boosters and tips and techniques and movements, and so we're learning a lot from them as well, which is great. In terms of referrals, we are getting a lot more referrals from parents than we have in previous years. It used to be around the young people self-referral and parent referrals would be around the same. That's changed quite significantly. Some of that we think is because of the locations that we've been in. So where we've moved into parishes and GP surgeries, it's often the parent referral that's made rather than it being a professional referral. So we think that's what's going on, but that is something else we're going to look at more, because obviously I think as a young people's service, it's important that a lot of referrals come from young people directly. That shows that they trust in the service. I do think we've got a lot of work to get our name out there and get young people to know about us, and that's why it's fantastic that we've got this education and training service. We have Annalise, who's here today, who has transformed our social media with Tony, so I think we're getting the message out there more than we have done in previous years, which is great. As you can see, for the referrals per quarter, they went up quite dramatically midway through the year. Some of that was because we started a lot more promotion. Some of it was because of new locations going online. And we do usually see an increase in referrals towards the end of the year and the beginning of the year. Obviously, Christmas can be a very triggering period for a lot of people. You can also see the referrals we get and where they come from. A majority of our referrals come from the college, which we would expect. We're very lucky to have Milton Keynes College provide us with not only free office space, but also free counselling rooms. So we see a lot of our main clients there, but because they lend us the room, we also want to sort of say thank you and pay them back. So we do take referrals from the college as a kind of trade-off. There's a word for it, but the only thing I can think of is cash in hand, and it's not that, I promise. Exchanging service. No, anyway. So that's really good. I've moving from city centre to the college has been a huge game changer for years. It's allowed us to connect with more organisations, more people, and most importantly, more young people. In the office when it was open and we were there, we were quite sort of pleased. We'd have like students knock on our door and come and ask the questions and get some advice, and that's lovely. So that's been such a great relationship. We also get a lot of referrals from cats. On to the demographics. You can see we have a predominantly female client base. When it comes to counselling, that is something to be expected, but the number of people identifying as male has increased from the previous year. We also have a significant number of people that describe themselves as non-binary or something other than male and female. You can see we have a client spread that spikes in the mid-teens. We think the 238s are because there's lots of GCSE and A-level pressure coming up around those age groups. So that's why we think that spike is there based on talking to young people. We've also got a good reach for our sexuality. As I'm sure you know, young people are much more able to learn about identity and express themselves, and have come up with some wonderful ways to define words for that. So we've got a 70% who define themselves as heterosexual or straight, and a sizable percentage of people that don't. You can also see we have a noticeable number of people with learning difficulties. We're lucky to have some counsellors that do some specialist work with autistic children and people on the spectrum, and we are so we do have a number of clients with autism. In terms of ethnicity, it's something we have made a big effort over the last few years to concentrate on. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we were at 80% white British, and we are now more accurately representing the makeup of young people in Milton Keynes. It's not a direct comparison. We're still not exactly in terms of where the demographics are, and that is something that we're continuously striving to improve upon. I need another drink. So the thing that matters so much to us is what young people tell us about their experience with the service. And as I mentioned earlier, we're really lucky to have some really great feedback. A lot of that is because the relationship that the young people have with their counsellors, and the way that we as a youth service tries to work at a level that young people want to work at, and the feedback reflects that, which is fantastic. We have lots of great client comments. I will let you read them yourself when I send out the review, but there's some really lovely bits of feedback there, and I would recommend reading them. And now, Tony, if you'd like to do education and training, and I will try and move the slides when you tell me.
Oh, thank you. And thanks, Gareth, for that. So hopefully you can all hear me okay. I've got a little bit of background noise. Is it okay? So yes, thank you everybody, and for joining us today. My name is Tony, and I joined YIS in January. Very excited to take up the post as education and training manager. Very excited to continue the development of the education and training arm. Very quickly though, lockdown happened a couple of weeks into post, but equally as quick was my desire to make sure that young people were supported coming up to what would be this pandemic, a pandemic, an experience which is completely new and unknown to young people and even to myself. But we adapted, and I say we, myself, and with the support of Annalise on board, we adapted our plans for education. Our primary focus was to make sure that young people were being supported. So we ensured that we had a one-stop shop, let's say, which would be our messaging service. So just to start that, we have this fantastic messaging service, which is being accessed by young people, parents and professionals. And there are a couple of ways in which people can access us through our social media pages. And it really is a place where young people can get accurate information and support, and somewhere where they can feel safe to have a conversation, regarding what's going on for them. In terms of education, we've done lots. I'm not going to apologise for this time right now to blow our trumpet, because actually in a very short amount of time, we have developed 7 off-the-shelf education sessions, which can be delivered face-to-face and now also virtually, which is something completely new to me, adapting and making that change. But it's been really positive and well received. We've had a number of people, services already using, coming to YIS to provide that service, as you'll see. So Harry's Rainbows, Carers Milton Keynes and Q Alliance, just a few examples. And those sessions have proved really popular because young people have felt very isolated and felt very alone and scared and worried about what this lockdown is for them now and even beyond lockdown. And we've been listening, as Gareth has said, to young people, and the most common thing that I've been hearing is that young people are losing friendships or losing touch with people, and that really has a massive impact on self-esteem, as Gareth's statistics show through the counselling service. So we are listening to them, and we are in our sessions, virtual sessions mostly, talking about navigating the loss of a friendship. I think that's been the most common thing that I've been delivering. So yes, off-the-shelf sessions. We've actually reached over 200 young people. Some of those were face-to-face at the very beginning, and some of those have been group sessions virtually. And you can see a number of those sessions there: mental health awareness and well-being, self-esteem and confidence. But actually we are really adapting, and we are listening to what people need. So a lot of bespoke stuff is happening through our bite-sized well-being sessions. You can change. Thank you, Gareth. On to our... As well as developing this education offer for YIS, which, we can all agree education is really important, having these conversations, raising awareness of mental health. My aim, YIS's aim really, is to make sure that we are leaving a positive impact on young people. And I believe we can do that through the education, early intervention, early conversations to support our young people. But also we need to be reaching out to those who are supporting young people to make sure they are sharing the same message and they feel equipped to help young people themselves. So we're doing that through our professionals training. And we've made a start. We've started delivering to the apprentices at Bosch. We've done some training for PJ Care. You can see there other services that we've been supporting. And we anticipate the training for professionals will increase. That demand, I'm already starting to see people are feeling a little bit, lost as to how they can support the mental well-being of young people, especially remotely, and hopefully we can support them with that. If we move on, thank you. Now, social media, as we mentioned earlier, is something both myself and Annalise, who's one of our education practitioners, really has been working on. Having that presence is hugely important. For me, it's about making those meaningful connections with young people, firstly, but also with the community and other sort of services that are supporting young people. So we have really been doing lots on our social media pages, and keep your eyes out because there'll be so much more happening. Our engagement on social media, all the platforms, we've seen a massive increase, including when we think about people making bookings, they're coming to us through our social media pages. So young people wanting to know about counselling, or we might have a parent that has reached out to us through our Facebook page wanting to know about, how they can support their young person. So we have our own YouTube channel too, as you can see there. Thank you, Gareth. Now, I don't know if you want me to talk about this bit now or save a little nugget for the end. What do you think, Gareth? Now is a good time? I think so. What's been really good for me and for YIS is to have the voices of young people on board. And I'm delighted to say that we have now 5 young adults who are with YIS as wellbeing champions. And they are supporting us in giving us some ideas about what's really important in terms of what young people need to enhance their mental health and well-being. And our wellbeing champions have got something really exciting happening in the background, and that is a virtual festival for World Mental Health Day, which is going to be on the 10th of October. And the event is called Give Your Mind a Minute. It pretty much has been, organised by the champions themselves. So it's lovely to have this team on board supporting me, but also being the voices of young people, our champions, as we call them. The event will be a virtual event, and you'll be seeing lots of people, young people, sharing their stories, their own mental health stories with us. We also have some professionals joining us and some musicians, a real mix, an eclectic mix of people really coming together and being part of this community and raising and celebrating mental health. So keep your eyes out for that. Give Your Mind a Minute, happening on the 10th of October. I think that might be me. Yeah, so, yes, yeah, that was a Gareth. Yep, go on. Shall I go on, Gareth? I'll just bring
Sorry, I couldn't get to the button.
That's okay.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, we probably could, it's important we talk about our response to the COVID stuff. What I would say is the information on this page is up to the end of March. So we've done a lot more since then. So would you be able to talk about that?
Yeah, I can. You could put the slide up again, that would be wonderful. I would say that one of the things that we did at YIS is we responded very quickly. We ramped up our service in response to the lockdown, and our COVID response, I think, was one of the first to, out of many, to really make sure that we were supporting young people. We moved very quickly onto telephone counselling, and our volunteer counsellors responded really well to that and adapted to that change very quickly. We have been providing support online, as I say, through our messaging service, and also responding to many telephone calls, which I'm sure Sharon will agree. We had a lot of calls coming through, and we're now able to respond to those calls quickly with some technical wizardry of Gareth. Thank you. Our Facebook and Instagram messaging support, we've been able to reach over 25 young people who have come to us with their concerns and worries at the beginning of lockdown. It's our statistics that haven't shown right now, but are predominantly female, young females between the age bracket of 15 and 18, most commonly are contacting us. Now, we're not providing counselling through the messaging service. Just to let you know, we are really there just to provide some support, a space to have a chat, maybe signposting to other services. But what I'm noticing is young people are wanting that space to have a conversation. So we're able to provide that support through our messaging service. Just reading what else we've done. Oh, every day we do provide wellbeing tips via our social media pages too. And I don't know if we're playing the video, but at the very beginning of, depending on time, if we have time, shall we? It looks like a yes. So the rainbow, you will have seen now, no doubt, happening across Milton Keynes. But I'm going to say we were probably the first to put this wonderful collage together from the young people that we reached out to via social media. And the rainbows were lovely because I think it just shows there is hope and light during what is an unusual time. So that was our rainbow video. Thank you, Gareth. Over to you. And
thank you, Tony. I'd also like to say one of the things about changing to working from home is how incredible the volunteers and the staff team have been in adapting, because it's a very different way of working, as I'm sure we all know. We've made an effort to stay in contact with each other. We have a video meeting every day at 10 o'clock without too much of an agenda, so it's not too sort of onerous for people that just want to get on with their work, but it's nice and it gives us a chance to sort of have a chat and a cup of tea and a gossip, which is lovely. The other thing we have did in a minor effort to help is we left, they've been turned off now, but we left the computers in the office on low power mode, and they were analysing COVID-19 proteins to help solve the fight, which is, I thought, a very good use of our technological power, limited as it is. I'm going to talk now about our amazing volunteers. We have counselling volunteers, and we have wellbeing volunteers, and our trustees are volunteers. You know, all the staff are part-time. We are a volunteer-led organisation, and we are very grateful that we've got such quality volunteers, really. Last year we did a survey. 21 people responded, and we were just asking them how they felt about coming volunteering, how proud they were to tell people that they volunteered at YIS, How inspired does the office team make them feel? I did get these questions from somewhere else, but I quite like them. And people felt valued as a volunteer, and that's our biggest thing, really. We also asked them to write 5 words that described how they felt about volunteering at YIS, and as you can see, the biggest word that they chose was supported, which is incredibly, honestly gratifying, because we see the support that our volunteers give young people, and I know it inspires me every day. I know it inspires the rest of the team. So that they feel that they are getting supported is incredibly important to us. Now I'm going to talk about our business development. So over the last year, we have grown in great ways. We've had more of a media presence. We have more people contacting us as local experts on young people's mental health, and we've participated in some local events, and we've even been featured as part of an OU press release on their they developed a module for the Open Learn platform that enabled our counsellors to learn quickly how to adapt to online work because of the coronavirus situation, and that was really good as well. We are also going to be featured in an OU module on, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, so let's carry on. We had lots of new projects and activities last year. We were very lucky with our business development officer, Kat Newman, who's now moved on to the Ymca. She did some incredible work for us that enabled us to be in more locations, more out there, and have better strategic partnerships with people. Now, we have learned some lessons about what works and what doesn't, and there's definitely a lot of change in how we're looking to grow over the next few years, but this really established us as a force in Milton Keynes again, which is brilliant. And you know, we have been around, but we have been on the outskirts, and now I think everybody feels we are being the organisation that we need to be for now. We've also had some fundraisers. We had somebody run the marathon for us, which was great. This year we did have somebody to do the Prudential Ride London, which obviously was cancelled, but they were amazing and just did it at home virtually, all via computers and things. So that was great. We've also had a company named A Little Can Do, who are selling some wellbeing products, and some of the profits of that will come back into YIS. We did loads of new education and training sessions, and we had some donations from some of our ward councillors, which was really good. That's a little bit premature, so we'll get to finances in a bit. But I did want to give a bit of a talk about where some of our donations and funding have come from. So we're very lucky to have a corporate sponsor who gives us £100 a month, which is incredible. And we've also had organisations like Yardie Systems, City Fibre, Franklin Solicitors, and others donate to us. So that kind of corporate engagement has been very helpful for us. This year we've received £500 from the Coca-Cola Foundation, £1,000 from Amazon in the community, £2,000 from Taylor Wimpey, amongst other kind of corporate donations, which is wonderful. We know that some of those donations come from parents of young people that have used the service, and they've nominated us, which is lovely. And some of it is just businesses that have seen what we're doing locally. We also had 2 new funded projects. So we are providing counselling for YMCA residents, which is possible through the Community Foundation. And we are also, for the first time, we have our service for the first time since our big lottery funding ended, we have a funded service in Woughton. So we've stayed there throughout this time, but this year, thankfully, all the costs are covered by the Milton Keynes Development Partnership Community Fund, which is great. One thing I would also like to say is how many people we have to say thank you to. Oh my goodness. We are very lucky to have a lot of support in the community from individuals and organisations. We've tried to list everybody that we know of here. I suspect we've missed a few people, but we are very, very grateful. As you can see, there are 4 members of staff. Well, currently there are 5, but when this was done, there were 4, and everyone else is volunteering or giving their time or energy or something to help us reach more young people to improve their mental health. And ACE, we are a community-led volunteer organisation. And there are ways that you can support this work. I will make sure you get all these links. You can raise free money for us as you shop online, and you can donate, you can set up fundraisers, all sorts of things. So that's the main overview. We will go on to finances next, I think, Michelle, but before that, Sharon, where are you? Are you here? Oh, is Sharon gone? There she is. Hello. So last year's AGM was Sharon's 2nd week on the job, 1st week or something. And in that time, you have given so much, you've done so much, you've transformed the way we work with clients and with parents. The advice you give parents on the phone, the way you work has been incredible. So we're very, very lucky that you're here for your 2nd AGM. So thank you very much.
Let's do that.
Okay, that's my bit done, I think, unless there are any questions. Cool.
I think the only response to that is wow, and a fantastic talk through of all the different aspects, all the different people involved that continues to make YIS such a success. But yeah, obviously, as we know, in the current environment is needed now more than ever in many, many respects. So a huge testament to all of you, to all of us that give our time for free, that are paid members of staff as well. So a huge thank you. And I think that's a really valuable document and presentation there from Tony and Gareth, giving us that overview and that really powerful sense of achievement. So thank you. So now we need to move on to statutory report and accounts for 2019-20. And unfortunately here we are a victim of the current situation. So we have submitted our financial accounts to be reviewed by an independent examiner. Those are our accounts for the year end up until the 31st of March 2020. So those have all been done and all been submitted. However, due to unforeseen circumstances and the challenges of the current situation, they are still with the independent examiner who is going through those, but that will be finished very, very soon in the next few weeks. So I do apologise on behalf of all concerned that we're not able to share those with you. Obviously at YIS, transparency is absolutely critical and fundamental to what we are as an organisation and how we run that organisation, both directly day to day and also the oversight from the trustees as well. So I can assure you that those are being finished, those will be finished in the next few weeks. And I know that Gareth will be circulating a copy of that financial statutory report to you as soon as we possibly can. And please do come back to us with questions, comments, queries, and obviously we will be seeking your approval in that respect. Is that okay? Does anyone have a question on that point? Okay, super. So I'm going to move us on then to a little bit of business that we have for this year and different for this year. So we've want to put 2 special resolutions to you as our AGM. Those information has all been sent to you in advance. Information is on the website. So there are 2 things here that we've been asking you to consider and are asking your approval for. So firstly, we're wanting to convert YIS to a charitable, what they call a charitable incorporated organisation. If I could just say CIO from now on, without having to repeat that every time, if you don't mind. And we're also asking you to adopt the proposed CIO constitution as recommended to you by the current trustees. Now, this is a piece of work that's taken some time and has been done exceptionally diligently and with great detail. And thank you in particular to Sue Naylor for supporting on that, and also the specific task group that we had looking into this piece of work. So thank you to all involved for that. So shall I just perhaps briefly summarise why have we done this and why are we asking for your approval? So primarily this is about simplification. As a CIO, which is a status fully approved, initiated, worked up by the Charity Commission, it means that YIS would just be accountable to one regulator. At the moment, we are accountable to the Charity Commission as well as Companies House. By changing our status to a CIO, it would mean that we are just accountable to the Charity Commission. Obviously, transparency, compliance, good practice remain and are absolutely central to what YIS is about and what YIS does. But simplifying that, and this step to simplify that, means that we can focus more on what matters, which is obviously supporting young people in Milton Keynes. And the second aspect to this is using what's termed as this association model, which effectively, looking at the various different approaches that the Charity Commission recommend, this is the model that is the best fit, we believe, as current trustees for YIS. It will mean that we can retain a membership sent to the organisation. It will mean that we can retain our current trustee structures. So again, just helping to smooth the way and simplify the way in which we run the organisation. I should say, obviously, subject to your approval, as the AGM, then all this documentation will then be submitted to the Charity Commission for approval. So rigorous checks will be done by the Charity Commission to make sure we've done all as we need to do. There's nothing that's been missed. So as I say, if you do approve this today, then there will be a further hurdle, if you like, and a very important hurdle for us to go through to make sure that we've done all that we need to do. Are there any questions at that point before I ask us to approve that? Okay, that's great. So if I could then take point 4A of the agenda. So do I have your agreement that we convert to a charitable incorporated organisation? I'll take that as yes. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for that. And do I take it that I have your approval for YIS to adopt the proposed CIO constitution as recommended to you by the trustees and circulated to you in advance of today's meeting? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Really, really appreciate that. And again, just to say a huge thank you to Sue and colleagues who've put a lot of effort into that. It's not easy stuff. It's quite legalistic. So a huge thank you for helping us weave our way through that. And obviously we'd be happy to update you once we get the final green light from the Charity Commission about that. So thank you. So now I'll move on to the next bit of important business that we have to do at the AGM, which is about the appointment of trustees. So first and foremost, I want to pay a huge thank you to those trustees who've stood down, either standing down now or have stood down throughout the last year due to various personal circumstances. So in particular, let me say thank you to Alan, who's been a long cherished and long valued member of the trustee board for many years, not least when he was also a Milton Keynes councillor as well. So a huge thank you to Alan for all his support and commitment. And equally a huge thank you to Sharon as well, who had to stand down earlier in the year due to a change in personal circumstances. And again, her expertise and support was hugely valued and appreciated. But I say these people have stood down, but I'm sorry, they never leave YES. So we're hugely grateful that they continue to support the organisation, not least with Sharon and her role at the Open University. So hugely grateful for them to want to stay in touch. And I can assure them we will be staying in touch and asking for their support and advice as and when we can. So thank you. So I'll cover trustees as a whole first, if that's okay, and then we'll come to the specific officer positions, and Sue will support with co-chairing on that point. So in terms of our trustees that we would like to appoint and seek your approval for the next year, continuing trustees who want to continue for the next year includes myself, Sue Naylor, Rupert Fairclough, Claire Coltman, Roy Cowley, Leo Montague, Lindsay Stiles and Kaylee Warwick. But I'm also equally delighted to welcome new trustees for this coming year. Appreciate that not all of them are able to join us today due to prior commitments, but fantastic to see Krupa on the call with us today, and really delighted to welcome you, Krupa, to the team, and look forward to meeting you virtually, unfortunately, but look forward to talking soon. We also have Gillian Hosier, who wants to join as a trustee, and also Scott Pilikas. I'm really sorry, I hope I'm not saying his name wrong. So do I have, if I act as the first proposer, do I have someone to second that proposal for all the names I've just read out? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sue, and also Claire. So I'm actually delighted to say, as Sue has pointed out, that means all our trustee positions are full on the board, which is fantastic. So as I said at the outset, really delighted to have that continued dedication and support from those that have been on the trustee board previously, but also equally exciting to welcome those new people onto our board as well, with a whole host of new skills, experiences, thoughts, views. So really looking forward to getting stuck in, really. So now I'll hand over to Sue, if I may, because we just need to cover off now the dedicated positions on the trustee board, of which the first one is chair. So I can't really chair that myself. So I'm going to ask Sue to step in, if I may. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks for that, Michelle. Yes, as she said, we need to elect a chair. We've had one nomination, and I'm happy to say that nomination is actually Michelle, because she has volunteered to take on the role of chair again. And so I'm very happy to propose her as our chair for the next year. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you. And again, would you like to just show your hands to say that you agree with that, if you do, which I'm sure you do. I'm doing that. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Michelle, you're reappointed. So I'm going to hand it.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you very much, everyone. That's really kind of you. Thank you. And I'll move swiftly on to the other positions that we have. Now, vice chair is a position, and we don't have a nominee for that at the moment. So we'll take that back as a trustee board and see what we can do about that. But we do have a nominee for secretary, which is Sue. So could I, if I act as proposer on that, could I have someone to second that, please? Thank you very much. And therefore, I assume, may I take it that we're all agreed on that? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sue. Congratulations. And for those that don't know Sue, she's utterly amazing and an absolute rock to us on the trustee board. So fantastic that you're able to continue that position for the next year, Sue. So thank you.
Absolutely. I don't think we'd still be here if it wasn't for Sue, so thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. Then let me move to treasurer. And again, we've had one nomination for that post, which is Rupert Fairclough, who's has been our treasurer for the last year. He's happy to continue in that role. So if I act as first proposer on that, do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. And do I therefore take it that we're all agreed that Rupert? Okay. So that's all the positions done. Just a quick check. Sue, have I done that right? Was there anything that I missed there? Or we were all okay and as we should be?
I think we are.
Okay, brilliant. Just wanted to check while I've got everyone here that we're all good.
Yeah,
so,
we're all good.
Thank you, Sue. So I'll move on then to the date of the next annual general meeting, which we're penciling in, and I emphasise the phrase penciling in for the 25th of June next year, because crikey, who knows? But we will obviously update you and invite you to that, giving you as much notice as we possibly can. We'd love to see you all in person, of course we would, but quite frankly, we'll have to see what the world's thrown at us by then, really. So obviously the AGM will take place. We're looking at the 25th of June, and we will confirm that in due time and make it very clear what the necessary, joining requirements are. So that wraps us up, really, in terms of business for today. Do you want to give the opportunity, though, if there's anyone that wants to ask any questions, make any comments, please do feel free to raise that now, or obviously you can take things up with me afterwards or with Gareth and the team. Okay. Oh, Gareth.
I have some news to share, if that's
please
okay.
Share away.
Oh my goodness, dramatic lighting. Really, I tried. So we have been really lucky to be successful in an application to the National Lottery Community Fund, which is part of the government's funding for COVID response in local communities. I'm so excited about this project. I think it's going to be a really great thing for YES, and I really hope it's something that we'll be able to carry on past this 6-month pilot program. So what we have is we've been given £25,000 from the National Lottery Community Fund. Thank you to the government. There are all these legal things you have to say. So that's great. With that money, we are going to employ a part-time project worker for 6 months who is going to be going out and about in Milton Keynes, working with local young people, local youth organisations, to get them to talk about what mental health projects they want to happen in Milton Keynes. For this 6-month pilot, we've got £13,500 for the young people to decide what that gets spent on. So this is really great kind of proper grassroots community stuff. We're going to be going out, reaching young people, talking to them about what they want to see, what type of activities. That could be an awareness campaign, it could be something on social media, it could be a play, it could be art therapy, it could be some support groups, it could be anything, as long as it is about improving young people's mental health. So having that money for them to spend and having a project worker to help them spend it, I think is magnificent. So that's going to be part of our education and training team, and a lot of the application is based on some of the work they've already been doing. So I think this is going to be a really great pilot project, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of it and what young people want to spend their money on. I'd go for a PlayStation 5, but
thank you, Gareth.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you, Gareth. Really, as one year ends, really exciting to hear about new opportunities, coming into life for this next year. So obviously we will be in touch with you about that throughout the next year, but equally really looking forward to this time next year telling you more about that and what we've achieved and what we've been able to deliver for young people in Milton Keynes. And sort of final comments from me, really, again, just to reiterate what Tony said earlier about World Mental Health Day, and I'll give your mind a minute. That's on the 10th of October. Huge amount of effort has gone into that. These things are not easy to set up in the best of times. So really big thank you to all our volunteers that have been working on that. And I'd really encourage you to have a look at that, get involved, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with as many people as you possibly can. And I know Tony and colleagues will be keeping, the website and Twitter feeds and Facebook and all that updated to make sure that you've got the ways to join in. As Gareth said, the annual review report will be posted on our website, so please do have a read of that, and it will be circulating it, so please do have a read. As I say, any questions, we're always here. Please do come back to us. Anything you want to talk about, or new ideas or new thoughts you have for us as an organisation, always really happy and keen to hear about those. And last but not least, if you want to show your support for YIS today and comment on the things we've talked about this afternoon and the things we've heard, I think as Tony's flagged in the chat box, we've got a hashtag running on Twitter today, which is hashtag YISAGM. So if you're into that sort of thing, please do get involved and tell us your views, tell us your thoughts. So there we are. So let me just once again say a huge thank you to all involved. Another fantastic year in the most difficult and challenging of times. And if only it was over. Unfortunately, it isn't. And we heard that directly from the Prime Minister, live to the nation only yesterday. So I suppose last but not least, stay well, everyone. Think about your mental health as well as your physical health. That's really, really important, whatever age you are and whatever situations you have going on personally and also from a work perspective as well. Thank you again for all your support, time and dedication for YIS in whatever shape or form that takes. We really, really value it. We need you. We want to work with you and really look forward to keeping those conversations going over the next 12 months. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.